Good morning. I am Josh Elohim with BackNine Insurance. We'll be doing a webinar today on business succession planning. I wanted to introduce to you Esther Hopkins from the law offices of Esther Hopkins. And today we're going to be discussing business succession planning as well as strategies to help out to make sure you plan for your business for exit strategies and whatnot. Esther is 23 years in the business. 13 years as a litigation, going downtown and defending clients for some of the things that can go wrong, usually will go wrong. So without further ado, I want to introduce Esther Hopkins. Take it away, Esther.
Thank you, Josh. So today we're here to discuss planning for your most valuable asset, your business. We all spend so much time working on our business and trying to grow it. And typically, it's our most valuable asset. Unfortunately, a lot of us fail to plan for our business. We go along day by day, making sure that our business is growing without really thinking about what we need to do to make sure that it is a sustainable business. So today, we're going to talk about what are some of the keys to protecting your business. So let's start out with operate your business like a business. How many times have I seen that you have your business and then unfortunately you're treating it as your personal bank account, or maybe you don't have your life in order with your business. So it's important to operate your business like it is a business. One of the biggest things that clients fail to do is that they fail to create a business plan. It's important to create a business plan so that you can know where you're going. Where are you going with your business? What are your goals? It helps to create focus. It helps you to ensure that you have a vision and a mission. It's also important because you lose track and sight of what you're trying to accomplish without a business plan. You want to revisit that business plan. You want to constantly change it depending on what's going on with your business. You also want to protect your business from third-party liabilities. How many times have I seen a business that doesn't have insurance in place, or they don't have proper contracts? It's important to really take a look at all those things. Insurance for your business is one of the most important things that you can do. If nothing else, get some liability insurance, because you end up getting yourself coverage for if you have a claim. It provides you with an attorney to help you out. You also want to protect yourself from your business liabilities. For example, if your business happens to have a claim, you don't want that claim to come to you personally. In other words, you don't want them going after your personal assets, your home, etc. You want to keep those liabilities intact in the business and wrapped up. How do we do that? Of course, we want to make sure that we get proper insurances for ourselves, just in case the claim does come to us. But also you want to think about maybe having some proper entities in place. Maybe you want to create an S Corp or a C Corp or an LLC so that you can have some personal liability from the liabilities of your business. Proper accounting. That has always been one of the sticklers for my clients. So we create all these entities to bubble wrap around ourselves to make sure that we don't end up having claims brought against us. However, we treat the business bank account as our personal bank account. We're writing checks, for example, to our kids' tuition right out of the business, or we're leaving very little assets in the business. Unfortunately, that's one of the ways that you can get yourself in trouble. If somebody sues you, they can try to pierce the corporate veil. It's really important to treat that business as a separate entity. How important is tax planning? Well, we all know we hate taxes, obviously. Nobody wants to pay more taxes than they have to. So tax planning is critical to make sure that we are looking at the business, ensuring that we're not paying more taxes than we have to, that we are being strategic in terms of ways to save for retirement and minimize taxes. All those things are extremely critical. You need to ask yourself, do I have the right entity? Partnerships and ownership agreements. So in my past as a litigator, this is where I really have seen, unfortunately, most of the disputes, because a lot of owners don't have any agreements amongst themselves. They enter into an exciting phase, they form a business, and they don't take time to sit and talk about how are we going to handle things if things fall apart. Getting those partnership and ownership agreements, having an understanding between yourselves is extremely important. Having a written agreement and a clear understanding of each party's rights and obligations. What else is important to protecting your business? Creating a purposeful estate plan. So what are the keys to a purposeful estate plan? There are many estate plans out there, but you got to make sure that your estate plan is purposeful. You have to have a plan that protects you, your loved ones, and your assets. It must be purposeful. It's not enough to just get out there and create a will or a trust. You need to have documents and instruments put in place so that you are actually protected, making sure that it is looking at who you are, making sure that it understands you, your family, your assets, and protects all of those aspects. It must address all essential issues that affect you. The plan must be implemented. So this is one of the mistakes that we see all too often in the estate planning arena, is that you will see somebody who spent a lot of money to create a trust or a will or what have you, and yet they have failed to fund their trust. They failed to put their assets into the name of the trust, and as a result, they end up in probate regardless. It's really important to make sure that the plan is actually put in place. Once it's put in place, we all know that our lives are constantly changing. People change, our loved ones, our beneficiaries, our selected trustees and executors are changing. Our assets are changing. So your plan is a fluid document. It's a living, breathing document. It must be looked at regularly to make sure that it is maintained, that it still works for you. So it's really important to make sure that you have a plan that is constantly updated. What are some of the essential issues for an estate plan? Well, of course, we all think of estate planning as death planning. That's what most clients, when they come to me, they're thinking we're going to sit down and talk about death planning. Unfortunately, the estate plan is much more than that. It involves end-of-life planning, obviously, but it also involves long-term care planning. What happens when we are aging and can't take care of ourselves anymore? What happens if we're disabled? How is that going to be handled? Have we put the proper documents in place and insurances in place to make sure that we are taken care of? Estate planning may also, for some individuals, involve special needs planning. If we have family members, loved ones that are intended beneficiaries of our estate plan, but they have special needs, we may trigger some unfortunate consequences and affect their government benefits if we are not doing some strategic planning for them to avoid affecting their government benefits. Charitable planning. A lot of us go through life and we have certain causes that are very important to us. And as part of your estate plan, maybe part of your plan is that I want to make sure that I leave a legacy that I'm providing for my charity. Charitable planning can also be used, obviously, for some tax planning, which is our next issue. Tax planning, none of us want to pay more taxes than we have to. Obviously, there's planning that can be done in the estate plan that can avoid unnecessary estate taxes, unnecessary gift taxes, income taxes, real property taxes. If you're not planning properly and consulting with the right professionals, you could cause unfortunate tax consequences. Doing your estate plan on your own is really tricky because there are many tax implications for your estate plan. Planning for a blended and complex family. Well, we would all love to think that our families are perfect and they are all going to get along. Unfortunately, more and more today, we are seeing a lot of trust litigation, probate litigation, family disputes, and we need to make sure that when we do a plan that we are really taking care to think, who are these individuals? How are they going to receive this estate plan, and how is it really going to play out in the real world? Are we now creating a plan that is going to blow up the second that we're gone and now we have our family members that are no longer speaking with each other? A thoughtful estate plan requires taking into account each individual's personalities, relationships, etc. Succession planning for your business. So obviously, this is the one factor that I think is most overlooked in the estate plan. A lot of planners, maybe they'll go ahead and put the trust the business into the trust, but they don't really think about how that business is going to survive. What is the succession for that business? So that's kind of our next topic, is really thinking about the business succession plan. What's the key to protecting your business? Business succession planning. We want to make sure that we think about what is the long-term plan for that business. What are some of the issues to consider? We want to consider, of course, we want to consider the death of an owner or a key employee. For example, what's going to happen if one of the owners passes away that's really critical to the sustainability of the business, or a key employee? We need to have things put in place to make sure that if something were to happen to one of those individuals, we have a plan in place. We have a contingency plan. Other issues: retirement and disability of the owner or a key employee. We all want to retire someday. Well, most of us do at least. Or maybe there's a disability that happens. What are we going to do in those events? We need to make sure that we're looking at answers and solutions for those questions. Maybe you have a partner that is already thinking about quitting and going to retire in 5 years, but that person's critical to the business. You guys have to have discussions around that. Disputes regarding continued ownership and involvement of an owner. Oftentimes, owners have very different understandings of what's going to happen when they retire, what's going to happen when one of the members dies. It's important to have those conversations. Are you going to be in business with your partner's spouse or their children, or vice versa? Those are things that really need to be discussed. Maybe you're thinking your wife is going to continue, or your husband's going to continue in the business, but then when you go and sit with them and discuss it, they have a different view. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So it's really important to discuss those issues. What if one of your partners got a divorce, and as part of that divorce, that spouse of your partner ends up getting assigned the business because of the divorce decree? Well, you have to have some plans. You need to discuss what's going to happen in those places, in those situations. Particularly, we wanted to have those conversations right now before there are problems. What if there's a bankruptcy of an owner? And again, what if a court assigns over the business over to a creditor? Again, another issue that really needs to be discussed. So another issue with business succession planning is discussing how to devise an effective plan. The way we devise an effective plan is that we prepare a prenup, or postnup is what I like to call it. In other words, your partnership agreement, your shareholder agreement, your buy-sell agreement. These are all documents that basically set out what is going to happen between you and your partner with regards to the business if things do not go the way that you want them to. You want to have it in writing. Mean what you say what you mean. It's extremely important. We also want to think about our key employees. If they're critical to our business, we want to create incentives to keep them in the business. How are we going to ensure that they have skin in the game so that they don't leave the business? Maybe we want to think about creating stock options or some sort of buy-in so the employee stays in the business and helps to grow it. There are plenty of options for how we can keep those employees invested in the business. Devising an effective plan is also important. In devising an effective plan, it's also important to have a saleable business. If the sale of the business is part of the plan, well, how desirable is that business going to be if we really don't have any contracts in place, we haven't ensured that our key employees are tied into the business, we haven't taken any steps to make sure that our accounting is in place the way that maybe a potential investor would want, or purchaser would want to see the business. So it's important to look at the business and really give it a due diligence of your own to make sure that it is worth buying. You want to establish an agreed upon method of valuation and determine the value of your business. You may have one sense of what the business is worth, and your partner may have a completely different sense of what the business is worth. While things are okay between you and your partner, it's this point in time that you guys should be discussing what is a true valuation of that business if one of us had to buy out the other. Coordinate your business succession and estate plans. I think this this is one of the things that's missed most often, because you have a business lawyer and you have an estate planning lawyer, and they're not talking to each other. It's critical to have these two professionals, or have a professional that does both business succession planning and estate planning, come together to make sure that they are coordinated, that the estate planner is understanding what's going to happen to the business, and that it's implemented into this trust or the wills or etc. And also with the business that the business attorney is talking to the estate planner to make sure that whatever plans that they have on the estate plan are going to be coordinated into the business documents. You want to establish solutions for business buyouts. What if your partner wants to retire? What are the plans for having you purchase their share of the business? If they've got a $10 million buyout for their share, are you going to have the money to be able to do that? Are we putting things in place so that you can buy out your business? If there's a death, we might want to consider insurance, etc. Also, are we going to talk about maybe having staggered payouts? For example, we can have agreements to have promissory notes to pay off the buyout over long term. It's important to address those up front. Liquidity is always one of the biggest issues. How do we provide liquidity on the death of an owner or a key employee? How are we going to pay for the buyout of that person if that person has died? So those are some of the things that we need to discuss when we create a plan. Business succession planning tools. So what are some of the tools? Like we said, you need to create a comprehensive business plan. A business plan that is thoughtful, states where you're going, what you want to do with the business. Are we going to sell? Are we going to grow? Are we going to allow our family members to continue in the business? We also want to create the estate plan. We want to coordinate it with our business plan. We want to involve our tax professionals. They're critical to all aspects of the business plan as well as the estate plan. So we want to make sure that they're involved, helping us to ensure that we minimize taxes on all fronts. Life policies on owners and life policies on employees, extremely critical. So if somebody passes away and you now need to purchase your partner's or the co-owner's share of the business, how are you going to do that? One of the best tools that we have is putting some life insurance in place so that you, if something happens to your co-owner, you now have funds to be able to buy their business out. Same with the employee. Maybe you want to buy some key man life insurance on your employees. Really important to make sure that the process of purchase is much easier. If you're going to self-insure for the event of death, disability, or bankruptcy on a buyout, we're going to want to make sure that maybe we want to get life insurance with a cash value. Maybe we're looking into some retirement planning that needs to be put into place so that we have money to be able to buy out our partners. The bottom line is there's got to be some concrete planning put in place so that there is the potential for the buyout. Business sale to a third party, that's always an option as well. We want to make sure that we're looking at the business, like we said, and start looking into the strategizing of the business. So at the end of the day, what is it that we want to do? The key to protecting our business, you want to operate your business like a business. You want to create a purposeful estate plan that is coordinated with your business plan, and you want to have a business succession plan. Thank you so much, Josh, and I'm turning over to Josh.
Esther, thank you very much. As usual, great job. Please reach out to your insurance agent, and you can reach Esther through your insurance agent. So I just wanted to end this with everyone that is listening to this webinar here is going to have the ability to have access to a complimentary business valuation. Now, for the business owners listening, if you've done this already, this can cost you thousands to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of your company. And because you're a value client here, we want to make sure that you have access to do a complimentary business valuation. This is going to really help to key on retirement income, exit planning, protecting your business, like Esther mentioned, your survivor income, and then protecting your business as well. So all you have to do is fill out the highlighted section here on top here with some basic information, send that back to your agent that you work with, and then within 7 to 10 business days, we will have a full evaluation of your business. The only thing I make sure I disclose, it's not a formal valuation, so it cannot be held up in court, but there's no better planning tool to help you to plan for the success of your business. This is a complimentary service that you can go through your agent to have access to. This is the complimentary business valuation. I strongly recommend that you take advantage of it. So, question for you on your insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your personal life insurance? Unfortunately, people buy life insurance, they put it into a closet, and then they never see it again. It's not a set it and forget it type of product. So another thing we want to offer for everyone listening is a complimentary life insurance review. We just want to make sure that what you have is adequate. So all you have to do is fill out the highlighted section here in yellow, send that back to your agent, and what they'll do is they're going to go ahead and reach out to the carrier and grab all the pertinent information on your current policy. Now, based on what you have currently right now, we're going to give you some options based on what your needs are. So let's say you're looking for the same death benefit but a lower premium. We'll go ahead and give you some options here, the most competitive options out there. Let's say you're looking for the same premium but a higher death benefit. Again, we're going to go ahead and give you competitive options here. Let's say that you have a policy that you've had for a while. It has some nice cash in it, but you're going from more of a growth phase to more of a stability phase now. We can show you what a contractually guaranteed paid-up policy looks like with no more premium. We see a lot of that these days, especially with people who are wanting to look to retire. So that's the policy review form. I strongly recommend taking advantage of it. Worst case scenario, we'll do the review. What you have is adequate. There's no changes, and you can feel comfortable knowing that your policy is efficient. So that's the life insurance complimentary review. It's a great service to provide here. So please go ahead and reach out to your insurance agent today to ask any questions and to have advantage to work with Esther as well as myself here. And again, thank you very much, Esther, for your time. Thank you for listening, and everyone have a great day.